Think we are rolling. Looks like Facebook is getting set up. I got to be able to figure out how to get this to go all the way through YouTube and Facebook. We'll get that right. Right now, I just want to make sure that we are up and moving. Oh, let's see here. We up and moving? I think so. Well, yeah, we just want to have a little, a little bit of history dosage tonight. Ain't nothing like having a little history on Hump Day. Anybody else that's gonna fall on in here and hang out with me for a minute? I just decided to jump on here. I've actually got my new mic, which I'm at home. Hopefully the sound is coming through clearly. When somebody jumps on, they can either tell me that I'm on or I'm not on. But I tested it out earlier, so it was sounding clearly. Let me make sure that the music bed is not. And happy belated birthday, rest in hip hop to the one and only James Yancey, Jay Dilla. Forgot to mention his birthday on the 7th, which is the day after mine, and I just don't know how I did that, but I did it, and it's my fault. Incredible brother. I've known his music all these years and really never gave him the proper just due. I was a fan of Slum Village, the whole Detroit music scene. He was all the way through that, and then he just really started writing and producing for a ton of people. But now, I rock with his instrumentals, so I don't get flagged or banned or, hit for copyright infringement, because I'm not trying to make money off of it, but that's just what they say. That's just what they see. But yeah, shout out to that brother. He was one of the most incredible hip hop producers ever. Producers in general. He had an incredible mind. I'm not sure exactly why I'm acting surprised. He was born on February 7th, so he's an Aquarian. So it's all good. But yeah, so I just decided to stop on by and make sure that this mic is working right. It was sounding right in my sound check. And then I wanted to get at it a little bit. Because we're in the midst of Black History Month. And y'all know I don't really rock with Black History Month the way I used to. I think I did a lot of stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I did a lot of stuff for my kids. I wanted them to get a foundation as to who they were. Like I said, back in the day, I used to get told by my kids that they weren't Black. And it wasn't a discredit to me or even a discredit to their mothers who weren't Black, but proof is in the pudding. You got to show them, and they understood. Their skin was a little darker and their hair was a little kinkier, and they understood all that, but they didn't look like me. So I think that's why we were where we were with that. But now I think they know. I think they know that they Black. They Black like they daddy. They got better hair than I got, so it's a little different, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm on here talking about moments in Black history. Like I said, I'm not really celebrating Black History Month the way some of y'all are. And when I think about Black history, I think about, all the great things that have happened. We've had some incredible things that have happened in our history. But then again, we've had some really, really fucked up things happen in our history. So I want to talk about those things because those things often get forgot. And they put us in a position where I think we forget. I think we forget as people, who we are, what we are. And that's a fucked up situation within itself. So there's one or two people in here Not sure exactly who you are, where you are, if you don't say hello. Sister Williams, how you doing tonight? Takesha, how you doing tonight? But I wanted to talk about a moment in Black history. Well, it just wasn't one moment. It actually went on for many, many, many years. Truly started in the 1800s and went off into the mid 1900s. It was a game that was played. I guess it was a game within the game, and you could pretty much go to any fairgrounds, county fairgrounds, state fairgrounds, carnivals, things like that. And they used to have a carnival game called Hit the Nigger Baby. And this was a game that they allowed kids to play. This wasn't adults, kids to play. So, they're looking at a baby. They're looking at someone that is just a tad bit smaller than them, or maybe even was a small child. And they were throwing baseballs to hit a baby. They had games where they the same type of game. It was either hit a nigger baby or hit a coon, African Dodger. There was multiple names that they chose for this game. And it was basically where a Black person just stuck their head through a hole and baseballs were hurled at them for a fee. We go to carnivals now and we try to knock bowling pins over, or we use water guns and try to squirt them into those little holes and try to race right across. Well, at this date or these dates, they had a game called Hit a Nigger Baby, hit a coon, hit a nigger, draft dodger, African Dodger. And you have to think, like, why would this need to be a game? I mean, if you just want to hit something, and it leads into something like dunk tanks. At first, nobody got into a dunk tank but Black people. They put Black people in the dunk tank, and then you try to knock the Black person into the water, and when you get hit, there's that surprise, and you go down and you look like you can't swim, and there was a lot of fear in there. But when I think about this type of game that was played at carnivals and fairs, and the hundreds of thousands to millions of people that took part of this, and see, a lot of people would want to say, well, yeah, that's how the South was. But the images that I'm actually looking at, and I dug stuff up purposely because I wanted to break down that this shit didn't just happen in the South. The picture that I'm actually looking at, it happened in Wisconsin. And then there's another picture that it happened in Indiana. And if you know anything about geography, if it happened in Wisconsin and it happened in Indiana, chances are it happened in Michigan. Okay? Chances are it happened in Michigan. Now, did anybody do anything to stop it? Probably not until it became something that, maybe politicians or somebody just said, this is just a bad situation and it stopped. But this is well after slavery. This is into the 40s, into the 50s that things like this were done. So when people talk about, that slavery and Jim Crow and all that stuff was so long ago, the 40s and 50s, they had a game called Hit a Nigger Baby, hit a coon, hit a nigger, African Dodger, shit like that in the 40s and 50s. Now, I'm only 51. So we're talking from 1950 to 1970 is only 20 years until I was born. This shit ain't been gone that long. It ain't been gone that long. So the scars are still there. It says this image is an authentic, and it shows a 1942 YMCA brochure. Now, this was a YMCA brochure, okay? Brochures go out to everybody's house. So this was a featured event that they put on the YMCA brochure for Camp Miniconnie. Okay. So you knew if your kid went to Camp Miniconnie in the summertime, they were going to get an opportunity to hit the nigger baby, also known as the Black Dodger or hit the coon. This was a game that they would play at the YMCA camp, the YMCA. So when people tell me that things were so long ago and this is that, and I'm holding on, YMCA. All right. We know, we've seen the postcards that used to be sent out of people being hung, you know, a collage of people being hung with nooses around their neck. This was something that traveled through the postal service. I mean, if I'm a postal person and I see that shit, I'm throwing that shit out. But not them postal people. They was mailing that shit. They was sending that. And this was going across the country and this, that, and the other. It's a little louder for me. I don't know if it's actually loud for y'all or not, but the music's just a little loud for me. So yeah, it's one of those things where now I look at the type of disrespect that we went through. You know, it says this was a common fairground game in which players hurled objects, usually eggs or baseballs, at African American people, serving as human targets. We were serving as human targets. No, we were being forced to do this. There was no service here. You know, this was something we were being forced to do. Who puts their head in a hole? There's a deeper meaning here that I'm going to, but who puts their head through a hole knowing that they're going to have baseballs hurled at them? Okay. It sounds like a common carnival target game, but there was an unsettling part of the game, namely the game's target was a real live human being, a Negro human being. See, it wasn't just a human being, it was a Negro human being. Thanks, T. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I just don't want to be distorted. I really don't care how I look because it's not going to get any better on my end, but the way my sound is, that matters to me. Because I can't correct none of this, but I can correct sound and I can correct levels and things like that. And I just need to make sure that my message is going out the right way. Since in our research of newspaper archives, we found evidence of the games being staged as early as the 1880s and as recently as the 1950s. In several instances, the stand received top billing in newspaper bulletins promoting upcoming carnivals and fairs, along with the shooting gallery and the fish pond. So the shooting gallery we talked about, and the fish pond, you know, you drop your little thing and you try to get something. This was one of the top attractions at carnivals and fairs. We have state fairgrounds here. You know, we had state fairs. We've had carnivals. We have county fairs. You can't tell me that Hit a Nigger Baby wasn't part of the game's roster in Michigan. Now, I don't have any Michigan footage here, but it says in Brownstown, Indiana, this happened. Make this big week your vacation time. Bring the family, meet old friends, meet the nigger babies, hit the nigger babies, eat hot dogs, and join the fun. This was all a part of their promotion. I mean, you didn't just go out for the Ferris wheel, for the bumper cars, to ride the ponies. You brought your family out to hit the nigger babies. Hit the nigger babies, eat a hot dog. That's pretty much the way it was. Hey, what's happening? So you have to, I got life happening around me. So if y'all see or hear anything else, you hear some dogs scurrying, they getting fed. How's work? Good. But yeah, this was part of a regular thing that you would see when you went to a county fair, went to a carnival. or even went to day camp or overnight camp. You know, there was a game. And some people know about this stuff, but a lot of people still don't. And when they say things like this happened a long time ago, I'm reading it for you as recently as the 1950s. And I invite anybody to go look at it because I'm reading it off of the fact check site. So just in case anybody wants to say, oh, you know, where'd you get that info? I'm reading it off the fact check site. So there you go. In November 1935, the Iowa newspaper Lake Park News recounted a recent successful high school carnival, which featured a musical show and a thrilling athletic event, touting that after the show, the crowd enjoyed themselves in visiting various booths or trying to wring a duck's neck in a tank of water or hit the nigger baby. So this was a 1-2 attraction. You either wrang a duck's neck in a tank of water or hit the nigger baby. This is the top 2 attractions at the carnival. This is real shit. One vignette from the St. Petersburg Times gives a particularly disturbing sense of the popularity of the game, describing how residents of St. Petersburg, Florida, celebrated Labor Day. Who can hit the nigger? By 3 chances to hit the nigger with all of the vigor of a professional ballyhoo man. The laborer drew the crowd to the side attraction at the Labor Day celebration at Waterfront Park Monday afternoon. A grinning Negro boy, his head stuck through an opening of a sheet, awaited the battering of eggs thrown at him by the majority of the St. Petersburg star pitchers. So they had actual baseball players hurling eggs at this baby. From the width of his grin, he enjoyed it almost as much as the crowd. So they're basically saying that this young black boy enjoyed having eggs being thrown at him. It just makes no sense to me. One where the goat wasn't a goat, for only a few of the eggs found their mark. Take it easy, go slow, take your time. 1, 2 gone, 3, try again. Thus the man in charge, as contestant after contestant tried his luck, as the women only looked on and laughed at their men's attempts. One boy, determined and amid the jeers of the crowd, took 3 tries, missing all of them until his last. The crowd grew larger and larger until the ball game started, when it rapidly dwindled, the Tampa St. Petersburg game being more of an attraction than hit the nigger baby. So only the baseball game got people away from hitting the nigger baby. That's crazy to me. But that's America. This is some real shit. Like I said, you know, as expected, injuries resulting from the game were commonly had, especially when baseballs were used instead of eggs. In 1887, the New York Sun recounted a bad day at the Westchester County Fair by noting that everything seemed to go wrong. The African Dodger was disabled. A very hard ball had explored a very soft region of his cranium, and he was laid up for repairs. Like a fucking car, he was laid up for repair. They hit him in the cranium with a baseball, and it says he was laid up for repairs. The Sun also reported, with no apparent concern for the man, that another Negro procured to do the African Dodgers act. So once they hit somebody, they didn't shut the game down for the day. If a ride fucks up at the carnival, if a ride fucks up at an amusement park, it's over. They take that ride off the slate. But not when you playing hit a coon, hit a nigger baby. They just go find another one. They didn't shut the game down. I mean, this man had cranium damage. That probably would have been reason to shut the game down if we're talking about real human beings. But we're not talking about real human beings. We're talking about animals. We're talking about people who had no regard for our lives. So when people tell you it's a long ago, no, not long ago, just 1950s. Just the 1950s. when it stopped. Who knows? There could have been games that went on through the 50s and the 60s that we didn't hear about, but this wasn't in Mississippi. This wasn't in Georgia. This wasn't in Alabama. This wasn't in Louisiana. Okay? Texas, Florida. This was in Wisconsin, Indiana. And you got to believe it was Michigan. Indiana's right next door. County fairs, state fairs, you got to know. And these types of things they don't like to talk about. But see, the reason I'm bringing this out today is because I'm tired of every time that I go down to watch television, and I don't usually get here. I'm actually home a lot earlier than I normally am. I'm here today, and I guarantee you that I could go downstairs at 8 o'clock and I could find some type of slave movie on right now. And I'm not talking about like Underground, okay? I'm not talking about where the black folks got to kicking that ass. I'm talking about that one where they always love to show the little young girl, she falls in love with the slave master, this, that, and the other. They try to make it seem like they had romantic scenes. These women were being raped. There was nothing romantic about a slave master having sex with one of the black slaves. No, there was none of that. They make it seem like it's just, so romantic. No, it's not romantic. This was rape. They were being raped, but they put it into their mode when they put these movies together, these series together. And right now, in the midst of your Black History Month, there seems to be an uptick in slave pictures. I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but I've seen a slave movie and or series episode every single day of the 10 days of this month. You might not have, but I have. I absolutely have. So I'm just trying to tell you, the way I see things now, I see things totally different. That's why celebrating Black history, what do you want me to keep doing? You want me to keep celebrating Muhammad Ali and Hank Aaron and Charles Drew. And, I used to celebrate Ben Carson. It's hard to celebrate that motherfucker no more. I can celebrate his medical accomplishments, but I can't celebrate his last 4 years. Okay. All the black inventors that we've had, we just want to keep that carousel going as if that's what we want to celebrate. No, let's celebrate this. Let's celebrate the bullshit that black people have been put through for the last umpteen years. Because it's umpteen. I mean, it was 1950s. This shit wasn't no 1800s, 1700s, 1600s. This was in the 1950s. What was this one? That was the same thing. The African dip, which appears to have made its debut during the summer of 1910, involved black men being dunked in a water tank every time a target was hit. So when you see a dunk tank at a carnival, understand that a dunk tank started because they wanted to dunk black men into a tank of water by hitting it with a baseball. Now, I guess this was a step up from actually hitting a black man or a black child in the head. So they just put them into a dunk tank, and usually when you saw them, they didn't have no shirts on. They had some cut off blue jean shorts and shit. They looked like they had just ran off of a plantation and they just sitting there. And they probably told them to go out there and you smile. They said this little boy was smiling. This little boy couldn't have been happy. Said he was grinning. He was grinning. It used to be just 5 cents to throw at a colored gentleman's head. And every time you hit it, a cigar was your reward. So they want a cigar. They want a cigar to hit a black man in the head with a baseball. but it has now changed along with the progressive era. Sorry. Here's the way it's played now. The lip is so arranged that every time a baseball hits the target of a colored man seated upon the bar, is thrown into a large pool of water. Okay, so they're talking about the tank. I thought they were talking about, let me go back. And they got a Jim Crow museum at Ferris State University. I didn't know that. Maybe when COVID's over, I'll go check that shit out. A Jim Crow museum. I wonder why. I wonder what Big Rapids was known for. I wonder where they got all them artifacts up in Big Rapids. Must have been some shit happening up in Big Rapids. I know a few people that went to Ferris State. I'd like to check that out. I'd absolutely like to check that out. So, I mean, you're just talking about something that they did to us, not only to make fun of us, not only to belittle us. This was actual entertainment for them. This was entertainment. They couldn't think of anything else entertaining to do other than beating us in the head with baseballs, eggs, rocks, whatever they could find. And they did this at children's day camps and overnight camps, as well as carnivals and fairs, amusement parks. This was a main attraction. And when people say, you know, that was so long ago, 1950s. See, if you want to talk about slavery ending in 1865, that's one thing. But then from 1865 all the way up to 1950s, look at the detriment there. And then from the 1950s all the way to 2021. I was talking about it earlier. I just read about a Minnesota Timberwolves basketball player was just sentenced to 120 days for pointing a gun, which I'm not condoning. People were on his property and he told them to go away. They didn't go away, pulled his gun out. And then when the police showed up, they could smell marijuana. And I don't know what kind of laws Minnesota has, but they smelled marijuana and they were able to get a search warrant. And when they got a search warrant, they found a large amount of marijuana and a gun that was stolen. I don't know why an NBA player has a stolen gun in his house. It's not my business. You can well enough afford to equip yourself with a gun in every room of your house and have it be legal. I don't know why he had a stolen gun. It's a whole nother situation. Now, the fact that they were able to arrest him, try him and convict him and sentence him from September to today shows even more disrespect for George Floyd and George Floyd's family, because George Floyd was killed on Memorial Day weekend of last year. And not one of the 4 individuals that are being charged in his murder have been brought to justice yet. But you were able to bring someone to justice, an NBA player, who it's kind of hard to catch those guys because they're moving around and, you know, they're doing this and doing that. But you were able to bring him to justice from September to now over some bullshit, marijuana. And they said he pointed a gun at somebody, so I'm not calling that bullshit, but I am, you know what I mean. Nobody's been brought to justice. Who's had a pretrial hearing? Anybody had a pretrial hearing? I haven't heard of anything happening with George Floyd's case. Now, I know they're going to try to say there's a whole bunch of complexities and this, that, and the other, and that's the reason why all 4 of them motherfuckers are walking around on the street. Free. After murdering a man in the middle of the street in front of the world, and they're walking around free. But who's saying anything? Who's putting pressure on anybody? And this is why I say we have a former AG. We have a former district attorney as our vice president. Y'all want to salute her because she's black? She watched that black man die just like you did. She pressing that AG in Minnesota. She pressing that district attorney In Minneapolis? Hell no. One of the longest tenured senators in captivity is now the president. Who's he attacking? Is he attacking the mayor of that city? Is he attacking the governor of that state? He should be on their ass to bring those assholes to justice. But they ain't doing that shit. They ain't doing that shit. And I know we all deep in COVID and they trying to give people this and trying to give people that, trying to give people the shot. I get all that. But what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, George Floyd or this NBA player? Because George Floyd's case should have came up in the docket before this NBA player. How has that happened? When you make sense of that, then you might be able to make sense of why black people had baseballs and eggs and rocks and sticks and whoever the fuck knows thrown at them as a carnival game. This is moments in our history, moments in American history. That's all it is. So if y'all gonna celebrate something, don't celebrate with chucks and pearls. Celebrate these moments here. Celebrate little babies being thrown into the water as alligator bait. Do that. Celebrate that. Why don't y'all celebrate that? How come y'all don't celebrate that? Celebrate grown men crawling around on their knees while they put little white babies on their back. Horseback, but they weren't really horses. They was just the men walking around on their knees on rocks and dirt and all kinds of shit. You want to celebrate that? You want to celebrate an old white man sipping his mint julep with his feet up on a little boy's back? A little boy being used as an ottoman. Celebrate that shit. I don't see y'all celebrating that. You know, I just can't celebrate the accomplishments of Wilma Rudolph and Arthur Ashe and all these different people that have done great things in American history, great things in Black history. It gets repetitive, it gets redundant. And then I forget about shit like this. You know, I mean, it's just, it makes no sense. And y'all want to be out in the street dancing when somebody gets elected that ain't gonna do nothing for you? Who told you they ain't gonna do nothing for you? Ain't gonna do shit for you. Begged for your votes. I mean, just begged for your votes. Jimmy Clyburn guaranteed he'd deliver the South, and he did. He delivered them. What'd you get? What'd you get for your vote? The first thing, you can go back and look at it. Soon as South Carolina was over, the first thing Joe Biden did was looked in that camera and said, I'm gonna help out the people in the LGBT community. First thing he did. He didn't say, you know, South Carolina, I appreciate y'all. It was beautiful. It was beautiful down here. You know, and I got your back. I'm gonna take care of you. Now, the first thing he did when he got out of the South was said, I'm gonna take care of the LGBT community. And since then, he's been taking care of every single person or faction of people other than Black Americans. He said you had his back, he was gonna have your back. What's he done for you? They got down there pandering in Georgia to get Warnock and Ossoff in there, putting them $2,000 checks all over the place. Everybody gonna get 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Some people had already got 600. Then he said the checks ain't gonna go down, but we gonna send them 1,400s out. Whoa, you said 2,000. He said, oh, the 600 was a part of that 2,000. No, that's not what y'all said. That's not what Warnock said. Some people had already got them, and them $600 checks is on Trump's ticket. Them $600 ain't on Biden's ticket. He might have been elected already, but he hadn't been sworn in. Yeah. Chucks and pearls. Chucks and pearls. They have no agenda. They have no plan. Their staff is rehabs, recycles, retreads from Barack Obama's staff. So what do we think we're going to get there? Anybody new They just fit in because it's time. They've got them a trans person in. They got the Latino here, and they got the Asian here, and they got an Indian here. They did the whole melting pot thing. I get all that. I knew they were going to do that shit. They wanted to make it the most diverse cabinet ever. See, Biden's looking for notches on his headstone. He don't want to go down as the 1994 crime bill guy. That's all. He doesn't want to go down. He's trying to do that shit where he pads his tombstone. The most diverse cabinet ever. He's going to go down now as the most votes ever. And he can say he got more votes than Barack Obama, his former boss. But so can Donald Trump. That's not really that big of a deal that you got more votes than Barack, because so did Donald Trump. So he needs to stop that one already. Got more votes than anybody ever. Yeah. So did Donald Trump. That's not good. It's not good, just like this isn't good. Hitting the nigger baby, hitting the coon, hitting the black dodger, African dodger. That's not good. But that's America. And those are moments in Black history. So we can't just give you all the warm and fuzzy shit. We got to give you the shit that what we really went through. It just wasn't all just, people pouring coffee on us and shit in diners and fire hoses and shit outside and sicking dogs and shit on it. This was the everyday shit that happened to people. Our people. It's never happened to anybody ever on this soil. Y'all can save all that Trail of Tears shit. Save all that, because Native Americans enslaved Black Americans. So save all that. There is absolutely nothing that's been done on this soil to anybody the way it's been done to Black Americans. There wouldn't have been a need to have a civil rights movement if all this shit hadn't happened. And now everybody's eating off of civil rights. People come over here illegally and get civil rights. You know how many people had to die for us to get civil rights? They can just come over and be like, civil rights, civil rights. Nah, motherfucker. Get in line. Get to the back of the line. I ain't got no problem with somebody coming over here getting their paperwork right. But you don't come over here and get what I had to fight for, what my people had to fight for. You don't get to step in front of me. It's going to be good about how he going to try to expedite 11 million motherfuckers. Some people going to be pushed out of work. Some people are going to be pushed out of housing. Some people are going to be pushed out of a lot of shit. They are. They're going to be pushed out. And it's unfortunate that they're going to be in those positions because they're going to expedite and they're going to get people settled. And then they got to start giving them those resources that some people are getting already. Some aren't, but they're going to start giving them resources that should be for Native Americans, not Indians, Native Americans. What they're going to be doing, they're going to get them to naturalized Americans. It's about to get real hectic out here. See, because I could be considered a Native American. I'm a native of this country, but I can't be considered a Native American because Native American name is for the Indians. And if you say Indians, and that's politically incorrect. They got it all fucked up here. So what are you going to call these folks that come over? Are they immigrant Americans? Or are they just going to be people of color? Are they just going to be brown people? You're about to expedite citizenship for 11 million people. 11 million. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Joe? You don't know. I mean, the way he sounded today, sounded on that clip that I did earlier, stuttering and stammering because he's nervous about the money. He's about to catch hell about the money. Because people were guaranteed 2,000 when they were doing that runoff shit to get all those people warm and fuzzy. They were pushing 2,000. They weren't talking 2,000 minus the 600 that you may have gotten already or not. They said 2,000. It was all plastered all over the internet. Now they done scrubbed all that shit off. You can't find one of them government checks that said 2,000 that they were politicizing with. Yeah, they done scrubbed all that off because they want people to forget those lies. It's crazy. It's all good. We used to the bullshit. We used to it. I just wish more of us who are used to it would come forth and apply pressure. Because I'm not the only one trying to talk to politicians and try to be out here. Other people are doing it too. It's just more of us. We need more of us. There's power in numbers. I don't know what y'all scared of. Some of y'all scared of y'all jobs. I get it. Some of y'all can't say stuff and be as public. I get it. You know, y'all get mad after work. I get it. You know, and you gotta be anonymous with some shit. I get it. You know, I'm not telling anybody to put themselves at risk, because right now you're on a thread. You don't want to get fucked up out here, because you get fired or get suspended from your job, let somebody else get expedited in this bitch. They might just come in and start working. Joe already told you, you better get used to start working with Latinos, because there's about to be more of them than you. Hear me? He said it. Hear me? I already told you, when an old white man say, hear me, you better believe that shit, because he meant that shit. So I don't know how long I've been on here. Well, about 40 minutes. So yeah, man, where I'm at right now is real simple. I'm just going to continue to do what I do, continue to have discussions with people who are in play, and learn this political system, because I ain't running for nobody's political office. But I am at least going to help those who are in play work with people. You know, I left a message for some individuals today that I really need to get at and talk to, because I want to know just not only what's going on around Washtenaw County, I want to know what's going on around the state. So, you know, I left a few messages, and I'm gonna kick back and see if they hit me back, because yeah, I believe in being a bulldog on this shit. Just the way they come for your votes, when they knock on your fucking door, when they invade your privacy, that gives you the right that once you vote for them, you can invade theirs. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I ain't calling nobody at 3 o'clock in the morning, but goddamn it, you came for my vote and I voted for you. The least you can do is answer some questions, not just for me, for the collective. You know. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. But hopefully this mic worked good. I think T said it worked real well. You know, I don't know how loud the bed was in the background. What up, Catnip? I really wasn't fucking around with the chat room. I wasn't. It was on a different screen. What's going on, brother? I see you doing your thing out there. You still fucking with the comedy and everything. I watched one of them clips y'all had. Shit was hilarious. I appreciate that people are still out here able to do some real shit, talent-wise. You know, you're not stealing nothing, not doing shit that it don't mean nothing. I mean, you know, because comedy is a truly underrated situation. You got to have great timing for it, you know. You really got to be able to just take not being funny. There's some people out there that's just not funny, and they get up on that stage until they become funny. I mean, it's something you can kind of learn. You know, you got to have a thick skin, you know. But yeah, I definitely see you doing your thing, man. When this COVID shit's over, you know, we'll get at it. Maybe I can get a few of you and your people on too. Man, we can talk about some shit on the BlackWatch. Because, you know, I always like, I like fucking around with funny motherfuckers, you know, because they always have a different perspective of some shit. So, you know, we'll definitely kick it. I ain't been your way in a minute. But yeah, we need to catch up on some things. We definitely need to catch up on some things. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get on out of here. You know, I don't know, I might pop back up now that I know I got this mic here and I can do my work from home. I'm gonna see how this all ends up popping out and how the quality was. But moments in Black history is what I'm gonna be bringing. If I'm gonna be talking Black history, I'm just not gonna be talking all that warm and fuzzy shit. I'm gonna be talking about some things that have happened to us on this soil, so we can make people understand that it ain't always been sweet for us. It ain't sweet for us now. I'm trying to tell you, it ain't sweet for us now. And I'm not gonna put up the facade that it's sweet. I mean, you know, individually, we have some good situations that happen, you know, and we breathing and we living and we surviving out here. But one of the things that I'm doing, I'm trying to help us get to that next step. We can't just be worried about civil rights no more. We got to be worried about silver rights. We got to get these coins. We got to get this redress. We got to get this recompense. We got to get this reparations. And I understand that the reparations movement is all a little bit of disarray right now because a lot of people followed, you know, some situations over the last couple of years, I being one. And, you know, it turns out that those situations just didn't come to fruition the way we needed to them. And things have just been changing. So what we're doing out here is we're really trying to get our footing back. I don't think anybody's lost their fervor for what we're trying to do, but we need to get aligned so we can put everything together. Because like I said earlier, one word, midterm. If we don't get what we want out of these first 2 years, there's some people that might be out of a job come midterm. So we talk to our local politicians. We talk to our state politicians. We let them know if they're not going to fuck with us, because midterms is generally a really bad voting period for us. We don't generally come out except for the presidential shit, the presidential elections. Nah, we got to change that. We got to come out in the midterms. And it ain't about scaring nobody. We have to let people know if you're not here for us, we're not going to be here for you. I don't know if it's patented or not. I know people like to patent phrases nowadays, but I have a phrase that maybe I should patent. If you don't respect us, don't expect us. That's the way I see it. I know some people just don't vote at all. I don't think that's the way to go. Nah, make your vote count. Just vote your interest. Vote what's going to be best for you and yours. Sitting it out does nothing. Does absolutely nothing. You absolutely need to cast your vote. Somebody out there has got something for you. You might not be able to vote on everything, but somebody's got something for you. So y'all be good out here. Be safe. I think it snowed a little bit more. If you're out there on the roads, 94 today was crazy. I saw state boys pulling people over. That was nuts. I don't know what the sting was about. It's the 10th of February. I don't know what their problem was. They was mad at somebody today. They was pulling people over left and right, 94 east and west, right near Huron Street. They was just on folks. So if your L's ain't right and your paperwork ain't right, keep your motherfucking ass at home. They looking for something. But y'all be good out here. Take care of yourselves. I got you. Hold on a second. I'm about to put your shit in right now. No, hold on one sec. Bam, 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 bam. 313 623. That's me calling you right now. That's me calling you right now. What's going on, baby? I'm just making sure you locked in. All right. Okay. Send me a link or something, man. Send me a link or something, or just send me what I need to watch. And you already see what I'm doing. I'm down. I'm gonna close this one out. All right, bro. So yeah, man. It's the BlackWatch. It's the only way I now do shit. I'm getting a little bit better. Just a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I'm still better than most motherfuckers just by getting a little bit better. You got to understand. Shit got personal. It got personal. One love.